Welcome to Transform and Thrive podcast, a space for honest conversations about growth, healing, leadership, and becoming. I'm Jessalyn Lamb, a growth mindset coach, author, speaker, and founder of Transform and Thrive. I believe transformation begins with awareness. Growth happens with intention, and thriving is not about perfection. It's about becoming more fully yourself. Each episode will be guided by the Thrive framework, which includes transformation, humanity, rest, intention, vulnerability, and evolution. And together we'll explore the experiences that shape us, ground us, challenge us, and help us grow. So, my hope is that each conversation helps you reflect, rise, and radiate so that you can transform and thrive. Today's guest is Michelle Edwards, an award winning leadership advisor, speaker, and author of DEI Died Leadership Lives. The book is right behind her here, and drawing on nearly 30 years inside corporate America, including 16 years where she built one of the most awarded, most diverse, highest retention workplace cultures in the healthcare advertising. Michelle uses her signature gas strategy, known as Give a Shit, to help leaders create workplaces rooted in equity, engagement, and humanity, proving that leading with heart drives meaningful business results. I'm so excited for this conversation and all the wisdom that she'll share with us today. So thank you for being here, Michelle.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here. Thank you.
Amazing. Let's get started and we'll jump in to ask you, what does thriving mean to you?
So, when I saw this question, I smiled because the word thrive appears in my book probably more times than it should. I didn't even realize how many times it was in the book until the book was over, but it's 39 times, by the way.
Wow. Love that.
So, clearly, I love to thrive. But I think that the point that the book makes the most is that companies cannot thrive until their people thrive, right? And in order to help the people thrive, it's about like leaders having that responsibility, that ownership to create an environment and create a culture where people are living up to their potential and they are being challenged, they're being supported, they're feeling cared for, their ambitions are being enabled, and they are set up to succeed. And that's when they thrive and they do their best work. And only then can the company thrive. And you mentioned earlier about the gas strategy. And I was talking to someone earlier today and they were like, well, everyone's talking about leadership, but I'm talking about leadership in a way that's not about task. Like everyone talks about leadership in terms of like, okay, you delegate, or these are steps you take. You review performance, you do all these things, but I'm talking about how do you make a person feel in order for them to bring out their best capabilities. And a lot of times people never get to see someone's full capability because they haven't put in the energy of the gas strategy, which is give a shit. And it's 4 pillars. It's pillar one, go deeper. You can't see people exceed unless you first see them. The second one is to take a stand. Sometimes you have to say the thing nobody wants to say. Sometimes you have to take a stand to protect your own people. The third pillar is lead with love.
Mhm.
Being courageous enough to lead with love in a world where sometimes love is seen as weakness. But when you love what you do and you love making an impact on people's lives and you love the work, what you can accomplish is boundless. And then the last one is the self efficacy, is the belief that you can actually, with your voice, your position, whatever role you're in, you have power to make a difference in someone else's life and experience. And so I think that is the difference between the regular leadership stuff that's out there and the leadership stuff that has helped me accomplish the things that I've accomplished.
I would love to dive into that of what transformation you are most proud of.
People know me for transforming cultures and, regardless of who you are, if you're a supporter of having a good culture or if you think that's too soft, regardless, that's what I'm known for, transforming cultures. And I'm very proud of that, but I feel like I'm most proud of transforming people, like watching people transform before my eyes. And sometimes it takes trusting someone before they've actually earned it. Sometimes grace, giving people the grace to evolve because people where they are now is not their permanent address. And people are always evolving. And sometimes it takes grace and trust to give that space to even see how someone can evolve and how someone could transform. And I was able to transform cultures because I was able to transform the hearts and minds of people. And those people transformed me too. So I think that is the transformation that I'm probably most proud of.
Love that. And I had the gift of being part of that when we used to work together, seeing how you're transforming people and also just being able to see how you create that psychological safety within the workplace and for people to really be able to open up to you. And I even wanted to add like how you've done a great job knowing that it takes time, even when it comes to
Yeah.
transformation. I've
Yeah.
seen you where
Years.
right, exactly. So I wanted to make sure to emphasize that where when it comes to transformation, it's not just one and done, a fast tracked. It really takes that commitment and
Yeah, and
discipline to keep
the
going.
grace to you have to give people
Yeah.
grace to know that they can actually evolve. You could be completely turned off by something someone says and does, and then watch leaders transform into people who were fearful of hard conversations being the person to deliver a hard message, or someone who was closed minded to accepting people, embracing differences, and seeing them realize that differences is actually the strength.
Right.
So, yeah,
Right.
and it takes years, and you have to have the grace to give them to see it through. Otherwise, you miss out. If you give up, you miss out.
Yeah. Well, and when we were talking about thriving, it made me even think about how so many of us are in this survival autopilot. And it made me think about how for us to stay grounded in our humanity is so important. So, in a world that often prioritizes like productivity over presence, how do you stay grounded with everything going on?
Well, I feel like when we think about humanity and productivity, we sometimes feel like you can't have productivity without the humanity, right? You sometimes feel like in order to have a productivity, you got to be tough and siloed into work only and not see the whole human in front of you. And I spent my whole career kind of proving that it's the other way around. Like you don't get productivity without the humanity piece. Like I think that the more you pour into people, the more they pour into the business. And so like I spent my entire career like seeing the whole human. Humans are not resources. I'm known for saying that, being in human resources and always saying humans are not resources because humans are people who have feelings, they have families, they have whole worlds outside of work, they have ambitions and goals and all of these things. And in order to see them succeed, you must first see them as a whole human. Because once you can unlock like what their motivations are, you can unlock their hidden potentials, and you can help them become who they are always meant to become. And that's why I always say the more you pour into people, the more they pour into the business. If I call employees right now and ask them, hey, come do this, blah, 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 they are going to do it because of all of the love and support that I have given them over the years, they are paying that back 10 times. So when companies say that, you can't be people first or human first if you want high performance and high productivity, I've proved the exact opposite.
Right. So, I mean, even when it comes to staying grounded in humanity, it sounds like well, and I've witnessed this too with you, that you see people as humans and not like robots in the corporate world where I feel like people don't care about their feelings. You generally do. And that's where the loyalty then has the ripple effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's also a lot to handle all of that. So it's also important to rest. I'd be curious to hear what role rest plays in your.
I have a love-hate relationship with rest. I have a love-hate relationship with rest because, for years, I've always kind of tied my value to my productivity. And I've always felt like rest is the opposite of productivity. And so, I overworked for years. It's probably, I don't have, we try to say we don't have regrets, but if there was a regret, it would be that. I missed a lot, at home with my kids growing up because I was overworking. And so now what I'm, focusing on is that, you probably cannot be as productive without the rest. And rest could be anything. Rest could be being home with your kids, cooking dinner for them and putting them to bed, going on vacation with them. It doesn't necessarily have to be sleeping, but it's like taking that time away to do what is special to you because once that time passes, you can't get it back. So I don't have rest figured out completely. I have a lot of years of learning from my mistakes. I'm still struggling with the rest thing, but I think rest is important to give you that balance.
Right. Well, and we're always a work in progress and definitely can relate about the tying it to productivity. It's definitely something I'm unlearning too and trying to prioritize rest and leading by example with a 4-year-old to teach her that we don't always have to be busy doing things every minute of the day. We can just take a nap or take quiet time or whatever it is of not
Right,
not having to be
right,
busy all the time.
right, right,
Yeah.
right,
Well, and
right.
that leads me to think about how we live in alignment to our values. So, even when it comes to intentions, what are you intentionally choosing right now?
I'm intentionally in this moment because I feel like it changes. In this moment, I'm choosing impact,
Mm,
legacy, purpose. I feel like, I wrote this book, DEI Died Leadership Lives, to share my strategies and my lessons with the world. And it's a lot of vulnerability and courage that it took to put a lot of the stuff that I put in that book. But I felt like it's no longer mine to keep guarded, to keep hidden, these hidden secrets. I wanted to share it with the world in the hope that I could be a meaningful contribution to the world. I live in a world right now that it's not fun. I don't know what else to say. Like it's not always great in this world. Listen, I'm grateful to be alive. Don't get me wrong. But I just feel like there's so much hate in the world, exclusion, people not feeling accepted, and it's an uncomfortable place to be. And if there's something I can do that can help people build a better world, and I could be a part of that, like, I think that's what I want to be a part of. That's what I'm intentionally choosing right now. I'm choosing legacy. I'm choosing to impact the world just by spreading my word of like leading with love and humanity and
mhm.
seeing people. And I think that, if we had more leaders who lead with an open mind and an open heart, that my grandkids, great grandkids might live in a better world than I am, you know?
Right. And I love that. And I heard you also say that you could create a meaningful contribution to the world. I just wanted to add you already are, just from what you're creating, what you already do, and just being able to continue to grow your legacy that you're building. It's beautiful to see. And I say that because I know from the beginning when you started writing this book.
Yes.
So I love
Yes.
that you just intentionally are like choosing yourself and bringing this to life for the world to enjoy this gift too of your book
Yeah.
and more to come with everything you're
Yes,
doing.
more to come. Thank you, Jesselyn.
Yeah, of course. Well, and you also mentioned vulnerability. So I'd love to jump into that of how has vulnerability shaped the way you show up in the world?
I feel like vulnerability has definitely changed the way I lead. And also how I teach others to lead, right? Fun fact is that I teach a boot camp class, a manager's boot camp. It is 5 hours long, 3 parts, and the first thing I teach beyond like the gas strategy is building that trust. So the gas strategy is the foundation of everything. Like everything ties back to giving a shit about the people that are in your care. But how do you do that? And how do you build the trust is the first part that I speak about in part one of the series. And vulnerability is one of them. And some people think, vulnerability is sharing all your deep, dark secrets. No, vulnerability is admitting when you're wrong, saying sorry, like admitting that you may not know something, being vulnerable enough to realize that the people that you support might actually be teaching you more than you're teaching them. Like vulnerability is just like being human around your people, being approachable, being someone who, welcomes feedback. Like my direct reports were able to tell me, "Hey, I do not like that you did X, Y, and Z." They would tell me it with the quick fast to get in line. And that's because I created that safety for them to do that. I think that is vulnerability, and that is building that sort of trust. And I just feel like you can't really have the relationship that I'm asking managers to have with their people without first building that trust.
I love that of just being able to create that safe space because then leaders and people can show up with all their feelings and be able to share what's really going on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and the last part of the Thrive questions I wanted to ask was like, how are you evolving and who are you becoming?
So I was thinking about that. Like, who am I becoming? And honestly, I feel like I don't know. So at the same time, I feel like you know, 20 years ago, I was becoming a leader. Then I was becoming a leadership expert. Now, like even a month ago, I was becoming an author, right? The book is out. It's like it's a ever evolving thing of what you're becoming. And I'm becoming a person that is okay with being comfortable with not knowing what I'm becoming because I'm always evolving. I think it changes so much. I'm always having this bright idea. I'm also very creative. Like I do a lot of creative stuff. And I don't know. Who knows? Maybe my future might be I'll be in the whole creative space, you know? Who knows? But what I know is that I'm embracing what I'm becoming with curiosity and embracing what other people around me are becoming with curiosity. What I said earlier, people where they are today is not their permanent address. And I really, really believe that.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're trusting the process and journey along the way. I appreciate you
Mhm.
being honest about that because that is the truth in what the where we live. Like I feel like I'm the same way where I'm like, I don't know what will happen in 10 years from now. I'll open to
Mhm.
it. And as long as
Mhm.
you're doing things that light you up, bring you joy, and you mentioned earlier of the impact, like focusing on the impact that you want
Mhm.
and just being open to what comes next.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. Who knows who I'm gonna meet tomorrow, but I'm excited about it.
Love that. Love that. And how do you hope your story helps others?
And that's the crazy thing is because my book, it's a leadership book, but it's a lot of stories in there. So you are getting my story when you read the book. You're getting my strategies on how to be a good, strong, powerful leader. Because there's a difference between managers and leaders. I think managers supervise people and supervise work and tell people what to do. Leaders, totally different game. They are inspiring people to become who they are meant to become. And that is a lot of work. And so there's strategies in the book, but you also will find stories. And what I'm hoping, because, like I said, it took a lot of vulnerability to put those stories out into the world for the world to judge me. But what I'm hoping is that it pays off, that those stories give people permission to be themselves fully, even in spaces where, differences may not be expected.
Mhm.
I don't want to say welcome, expected. But you be yourself fully in that space to teach that space who you are so that they will expect the next person. So I'm hoping that it gives people permission to be themselves fully. I hope it gives permission. I keep saying this for people to lead with love in a
Mhm.
world where love just seems squishy. I'm hoping that it gives people permission to trust one another before it's earned. That's
Mhm.
that grace piece that I talked about earlier. I'm hoping that it gives people permission to really, really step fully into all that they can become. And, I'm hoping that the world somehow gets better for my grandchildren.
Yep, definitely. And I'm excited for more people to get a hands of this and really be able to, like, even for my daughter, I'm like, yes, I'm going to have her read this too in the future. Definitely want to see the impact of everything you're doing and excited for
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
I'd love to wrap up with one last question of what is one way you are choosing to transform and thrive?
Well, I can tell you that when I started this year, like I sometimes I haven't done this every single year, but a lot of years I've like given it a theme.
Mm.
In 2026, my word was relentless. So, and relentless could mean that I would be relentless with setting boundaries for myself,
Mhm.
relentless with getting my word out, my point of view out to the world, the book. And, relentless could pretty much mean anything that you start, that you see it through, that you finish. Because
Mhm.
I'm the queen of unfinished projects. So, like, relentless is see it through, right? And so I put a book out into the world in 2026. Crazy. The Knicks won a championship in 2026. So I guess what I'm saying is to transform and thrive is like almost like just believing in the beauty that dreams can actually come true.
That's beautiful. I love that. Well, thank you for joining us today for the conversation. And I really hope for everyone listening in that this episode gave you something meaningful to reflect on and carry with you. And if this conversation resonated, please share it with someone who may need to hear it. And be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with Transform and Thrive. And remember that growth is not about perfection, it's about awareness, intention, and becoming. And until next time, hope everyone continues to transform and thrive too. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.